At the end of this video, you will be able to create this tic-tac-toe game with React. And this game is just like you can select a player and then click start and just play around these games, and as soon as someone won, it says player X won, and here is this message also. Then even if anyone can click here, it doesn't matter because game is over and now we can reset it. So this is the game we are going to create in this episode. So let's see what else we are going to learn in this episode. So in this episode we are going to see what is React, how to install it, and how to create tic-tac-toe game. Then let me just give some information about me. My name is Sarthak Shrivastava and you can also follow me on any kind of social media. Just type Bitfilms and follow me. Okay, so what is React? React is an open source JavaScript library. Yes, it's a library and it's an open source. That means anyone can share it, edit it, modify it, whatever he want. Then it is used for building user interfaces, and user interfaces, that means how user will react to your app, and you can do this with React. React is backed by Facebook and that's why it is so famous and it is so powerful also. Then let's talk about the features of React. This is more interesting. So React is a declarative type. What that means? It know its job. So if you are doing something, you just have to instruct React that you want that, and React will take care of everything. So think about this. You have a waiter and you want to order some meal, and you don't have to instruct the waiter that, oh, okay waiter, go to the kitchen, take the meal, or even create the meal, then put it on the plate and come back, serve here. No, you just order it. And here on the React, how this can be implemented: suppose you have a two button, one is start, one is stop. So you just want to change that start and stop according to some condition. So you will say if the condition is true, then show the start, otherwise show stop. So you don't have to give all the instruction that you need to remove the start before putting the start button into the DOM. Everything is taken care by React. So that's why it is declarative, declared, everything is declared. Then it is flexible. This means it can be used with any kind of backend, whether it is PHP, whether it is Python, any kind of language, any kind of framework, it doesn't matter. Just use React in the front end and that's good. Then comes, it is efficient. Why it is efficient? Because it is using virtual DOM. That's why it is super fast also. But what exactly is virtual DOM? So let's talk about virtual DOM. So it's a virtual representation of UI kept in a memory. So it's like you have a DOM or you have a whole HTML, just like a page. Then React will copy, or it will just clone everything and kept in a memory. This is a virtual one, not a real one. Then it will sync the real DOM by the React DOM or the virtual DOM of the React. So this process is called reconciliation. And if you are not getting this thing, let's just look at this example. So here we have some model and here is the real DOM. Okay, and here's the virtual DOM. So everything in virtual DOM is exactly same. So you can see we have 5 blue boxes. Yeah, we have 5 blue boxes. But as soon as some new red box is added, and we always change the virtual DOM in React. So as soon as something is changes in virtual DOM, then React just compare virtual DOM with the real DOM, and this process is called diff. And if React found some changes, which is the red box, it will do the patch. This means this process is called patching, and this will add this red box into the real DOM. So in that way, the real DOM is also updated, and this is so efficient that it will be very fast and give you a great performance. But React also use a new unique thing which is called JSX Actually, it's not new, but it's unique. How it is unique? Because it's a syntax extension to JavaScript. It's just like a template language with full power of JavaScript. Why is that? Because you write HTML in a JavaScript way, and how this will going to work I will show you. But React doesn't require JSX. It's not required, but if you use JSX, that will be more beneficial for you. So it will be highly recommended to use JSX. Then comes how React renders JSX. As I have told you, JSX is just like writing HTML in a JavaScript way. So what's that mean? So let's go to Chrome for that and go to reactjs.org, and here you can see we have JSX information. Yeah, here Babel, REPL. Let's see this one, and here this is actually the React code, and you can see we are using h1 tag. Inside h1 we have a hello world. That's okay, but this is not HTML. This is called JSX, and you can see it's like a simple JavaScript. We are assigning this tag into this element. Simple. But how this is rendered, or how this is taken by React? So here on the right side you can see, if you type this h1 hello world kind of things, it will just use this function react.create element. So then React create the element by taking this JSX. Then it will say we have the tag name, which is h1, and we have null. Null is just for if we have a class name. So class name, so like class name, if we give class name, you can see class name is true, and if I say class name is nav, so yeah, class name is nav, then the actual inner text of this HTML or JSX, so which is hello world. And in that way, this particular h1 tag used in a JavaScript way and rendered by this way. So this is the cool part, and this is very, very important to understand how JSX is converted or compiled by React. So this is all about the information theory part, and let's now dive into the coding part. So we will going to install React. So let's go to get started, and I will go to installation part and add React to new app. So you can just click here, and here you have this information. So first thing first, I will go to my folder, and here I will create terminal, and in this terminal you can see I'm going to have this create React app. This is globally I need to install it. So let's install it, sudo and all these things, and I'm doing sudo because I have some weird thing with npm. You don't need to put sudo here, you just directly give npm install. So because I already have this create React app, so it will not take much time to install. It will just update it the package. So now if I say create React app and hit enter, you can see it's giving some information. That means this create React app is successfully installed. Now how we can create a React app? So we can just say create -react -app, then the name of the project we need to create. So it's like Tic Tac Toe, simple one. So hit enter, and this time you can see it's now using various things, and I have also installed yarn. If you don't have yarn, don't worry about that, it's not a problem. npm will take care about everything, but make sure you have yarn. Yarn is super fast compared to npm, and you will have some benefit over this, especially if you are using React. You need to have yarn because yarn is also created by Facebook and highly used in React. So let's wait for this. And now you can see our React app, Tic Tac Toe app, is installed successfully, and now we need to run it. So you can see I'm having yarn start yarn build. If you don't have yarn, it will say npm start, npm build, all kind of things. So I will just close this terminal because this time I will go and open this project with my VS Code. So you can see when this project is installed, we have this kind of structure of our project. So first folder is node modules folder, which will have all the packages related to this project we have. Then comes public folder. Public folder has the main information about the HTML, because React is a JavaScript library and it need some kind of DOM, some HTML to create the user interface. So this is actually the index.html. So it's simple index.html, and you can see we have some meta tags like these things. But here is the interesting part. We have a link for manifest, and it will say public URL / manifest, and this public URL is actually this public folder, so which is referring to public folder. So that's why public URL, which is public folder, and then manifest.json. So you will say why this is not doing like this. This is the same thing because HTML and manifest are in same folder, but it's just going to use the full path of this public folder. So this version is also useful when we have the routing system in React. So the title is good. Then comes we don't need this. Yeah, this is super important part. We have a div having ID of root. This is super important thing because now the whole React app is connected with this div having ID of root. So where this is connected? For that, we need to go to the next folder, which is source folder. But before source folder, let's talk about these things. This is a git ignore file, so version control. So it's saying that you need to ignore all these files. That's okay. Package.json, which will help you to see what are the packages you have installed on your project. Just like here, we are using React, then React DOM, React scripts. Scripts is just like start, build, test, eject. So why not try to run this? So if I open integrated terminal for the VS Code, here I can say npm start. So it will just start it and it will open that in our new browser. So you can see it's now started the server localhost 3000, and that was the last one, previous the demo part, but this is the new one which we have just installed. So let's once more go to public folder on the index.html, and here is the React app. I will say Tic Tac Toe app. Save it. As soon as you save, you can see the title of this page is now changed. So this means this is the correct HTML part. Okay, so you have this, and these are the script, and these two things which we are going to use a lot in React. So let's close this. Then readme and yarn log file are okay. Readme just giving the information of the project you have, and yarn log file is having the information of each and every dependencies you have. Okay, now come to the important folder, and extremely important folder called source. I will start from this index.js. Let's see index.js. First, it's importing React from React, and where this React is, yeah, we have seen that in the package.json we have this React which we have installed, and that is actually getting information from node modules folder. In the node modules folder, if you go on the R part, you can see you have React, and from this folder it is pulling React. Then we have React DOM folder from where React DOM is pulling out. So these are the things, and that's why node modules folder is super important. Okay, then it is using this index.css file, which is yeah, this one, just for styling purpose for whole of your project. So this is good. So let's talk about the next part, which is app. We are importing app from app, which is app.js. This is more important because it's a file which contain this class. Okay, and we will talk about this later, but let's go back to the index.js, and we have register service worker. We will not going to deep dive into this, but I will create another video for that also. So at the end you can see we are using React DOM, which is we have imported dot render, and rendering what? Rendering app. This is the app which we have on app.js, and we are exporting this app, which is actually this class. So this class is exporting. Here we are importing this particular class which is having name of app, and then we are using that class just like a HTML. So this is actually the component. It's a component, and here on this class you can see it says yes, it's a class, but it's a component because it's extending component, React component. Okay, so let's go back. Then it will say when you have rendered this, then bind that to the root. So where this is root, remember that public index.html, here is the div having id of root, and yes, we are getting document by id and then root. So we are binding this component to this div by using this id, and now everything is connected. So this is the way we can start with React. But now we have seen that we are using this app component. So let's close index.js. Here what we are doing, we are importing React. Yes, we have also imported that on index.js, but this time we are also importing component. And yeah, we are using component because we need to extend this class, and we are going to make this class as a component. That's why we are using this. Then we are using this logo, importing logo. So you can see logo, CSS, JavaScript, everything is imported in a JS file. So this is very easy to understand and easy to manage. Here we are also importing app.css, which is this one. So this app.css just a CSS file for this particular component. Okay, so yes, we have all these things, and if I go to Chrome, you can see all these things are here. This means if I go and delete everything, save this file, you can see it says nothing is returned. So I will try to return an h1 tag which will say hello React. Okay, save it, and yes, hello React is here. So which is very easy, and you can see it's actually a JSX, and you know how JSX is rendered. Okay, so this means we are not going to use the CSS, or maybe we will use later. So but for now we are not going to use it, so let's remove it. We are not going to use the logo.svg, let's remove that also. So why not delete this logo, and this is the last file we have not talked about. This is app.test.js. it just used for testing purpose, but we are not going to deep dive into the testing part here, but we will do that in the future. Okay, so it's super easy. We have created a component, and we have created this h1 tag which is a JSX part. Okay, so we need to create the Tic Tac Toe app. So let's now start our Tic Tac Toe app. For that, I will firstly create a folder called components. Okay, inside this component I will create let's first do one thing. Here I want to say let's again use h1 tag, and here I will say Tic Tac Toe app. Okay, so yes, it is here, but I want this to be at the center. So why not give a div, and in this div I'm going to move this h1 tag and giving a class of let's say container. But you know, in React we cannot use this class directly. So if I use this, you can see it says, did you mean class name? Because for connecting this, and we have seen on the Babel part that to make class we need to use class name, not simple class. And as soon as we have applied this, let's inspect this element. Yes, you can see this div having class container. So let's just give some of the CSS part. So why not use this app.css? Yes, we need to have this one. So I will delete everything from here, and I will say dot container is going to have everything in center. So text align at center. So why not use this? So import we need to say slash app dot css. So app dot css. Okay, so like this we have imported that, and let's see, yeah, it's at the center. So super easy thing. Now we need to create the boxes. So it's like, let's create a div, and I will call this, and let's give a class name of let's say box, simple. Okay, so because it's just a div, nothing is going to show here, but on this app.css I'm going to give box styling. So it will be like width having 200 pixel, why not? So then we will say height again having 200 pixel. So how about this? Okay, so we need to give the border also. So border is 1 pixel solid black, and yes it is, but it is pushed here, so it's too large. So why not make it only 80 by 80, and yeah, it is good. And for displaying this box at the center, I will say display inline block. How about this? So let's go to Chrome. Yeah, it's at the center, but I don't want to have one. I just want to have 9 boxes. 9 boxes, yes, 9 boxes. So I will copy this, 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Yeah, everything is good, but this has to be 1 2 3, then 1 2 3, then 1 2 3, 3 and 3 at the same time. So what I will do this time I will use another div, and this time I will call this div and give a class name actually, and I will call it board. Okay, and inside this I will put all my small boxes. So on the board we have the boxes. So let's give the styling for the box. So not the box, board. So here I will use display, which will be inline flex, then flex wrap, so that we can wrap it. So wrap it, and let's see, yeah, it's not done yet, but this time if we give the width of 320 pixel, and yeah, you can see magically it now having this pattern. So this is good, we have done this, but now the next task is we need to display some text here, so that we can, when we click here, we can display it. So for now we just want to display some text here inside that div. So inside every div I want to have X. So let's say X on any two. This is good, but this is at the pushed at the top. Why not make this with the line height of, let's say, 30 pixel? How about this? Okay, let's use finally 80, and yeah, this is good, it is at the center. Good. So this is nice, but you know the problem here is we have 9 same boxes, similar boxes. So first thing, I will create a constructor. Because it's a class, it can has a constructor. Okay, in this constructor we will going to create a state, and think about state as some kind of data or the variable you have. So this dot state we are going to create, and the state name is let's say board. because it collect all the cells or all the boxes. So it's an array and it's having 9. Then we are going to fill it with nothing, okay, for now. But let's try to fill it with x, okay. And now I'm going to use this board. So how we can use state, because it's a state, we can simply say this dot state dot board, simple thing, okay. So just above this return, because inside render we can do all the JavaScript part, but on the return part we just going to return the JSX. So this dot map, it's a map just like a for each loop. So here we are going to use each boxes, because it's going to loop for 9 times, because board is a 9 array. So this get box, and now it will just going to return this thing, okay. So yeah, this is, and here I'm going to show this box, super easy thing. So box is here, which is this box, not the class one, okay. And let's call it constant of box is here. So how we can use this? So let's comment this out, okay. So we have done this, we are using this board, we are mapping through each element of this array, getting each element is named as box inside this map. Then we will say div class name box, same thing, but here we are just showing or giving the value. Because we are using parentheses, it means you have to put the value of the box, not the word box. Then we are using everything as a box. So let's call that, and again to give the value we need curly braces and box. So let's see what will be the result. Okay, it says this means we don't have to use equal to, we need to use colon. And now okay, we have forgotten the super part. So props, okay, yeah, this is good, but this time it is weird. We have various problems. Actually this is also rendered, so I need to remove it. And this time, yes, you can see these things are creating all these divs. So if I inspect it, you can see we have 9 divs, and that is because we have looped through all that array. Then for each array we are creating this div, and every div we are pushing inside box, and then we are showing that box here, and that's why we have this. Okay, that's good. Now the time comes where we want to have some click event. So as soon as I click, then I want to show this X, otherwise not, okay. So this is showing X here or cross here because we have an array which is filled with cross. So I will not going to fill with it anything. So let's go to Chrome. Yes, you can see it is empty, but as soon as I click on each box, we want to have X here. So we need to give a click event to div. So on click, we have to create on click event, and here we are going to pass a function. But to pass a function we use curly braces. So here we will say this dot handle click, okay. So this is the function we have. So this is the function actually, so parenthesis, and let's create this function. So handle click, and this is going to get an event, and let's say console.log event, okay. And you know this is not going to work, so let me just show you these things. So how it's going to work. So open console. So you can see the first problem we have, each child in an array or must have a unique key. We don't have any unique key. So let's first solve that problem, because we have various divs. So 9 divs having exactly almost same thing. How React going to distinguish between them? So we need to give a key also. So we just have to say key, but what key we will give? We can give the index, but where this index came from, we need to accept it. So we are getting index like this. Okay, so now we can give index. So if I go, you can see that error is gone, but we have some kind of undefined on 9. So here you can see on click event it's not actually clicking that. Or if we remove this, yeah, there is nothing, but as soon as I click we have these things. But if I say e dot target, so what will be the result? Click here, yes, div is here. But you know, this is not the exact way of using something on React. You need to use this kind of notation. That means you need to use this parenthesis or then arrow function and then call it as a function and now pass the event. This is the thing you need to create. So this time also it will work, but this is the more reactive way or the React kind of way of calling an event. So why not do one thing, because it's getting messed up here. So I will move everything like this. So it will be like here and then okay, so sounds good. Yeah, so everything is good. So now let's just show the cross whenever I click here. So let's go to VS Code, and when we are passing this event, so instead of event let's pass index. So here let's get the index and here also index. So how about this? Click index is 0, click index is 8. So 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Yeah, this is good. So what we need, whenever we get the index, for that particular index we can fill the board array with x. So here let's just console.log this dot state dot board, and I will just comment this index part. So we have the board which is null 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 9 times, but now I need to set the state, or we need to update this board. But you cannot directly do this like this dot state dot board is equal to, or like index part is equal to x. Let's try even that. So I will update first, then console log. So let's see what will be the result. Yes, click. It's completed, but this is not the correct way, and that's why React is giving you this warning: do not mutate state directly. Because if you are mutating state directly, then what's the reason of using React? React will not give its 100% if you are using this kind of a statement. How we can update it? For that we need to say this dot set state, and in this set state we will use parenthesis, then this curly braces, and here we can say now the board is having a new board. So let's do one thing, we will update first. So I will say let new board is equal to this dot state dot board. So we have created a new variable, we have get the board array here in the new board. Then for the new board I will change index, because this is not a state, so I can easily change this index directly, and I will say x. Okay, then because we have this new board which is similar to the board but with this updated information, we can say new board. So we are setting the state, we are setting this board, whole board we are changing, and we are saying that okay, board is now a new board which is having x on the indexed or the clicked part. So let's go click here, refresh, click. Yes, you can see x is here, and it is super easy. You can see everywhere is x. But again we want to switch the user. So as we have x, as soon as we click, the next time it has to be 0 or O. So For that, we need to create a new state called player. So player is the one. So let's initialize first with X. So always there has to be the player X. So make sure you have installed this React dev tool for the Chrome, and if you have not, just say React Chrome Chrome tool. You can just get that, and I don't have internet connection. Okay, so you can do that later. So you can see it's giving a state is board and player having value X, and yes, we can change it. So as soon as we change, yeah, here board is also changes, so we don't need to console log here. So let's just remove this logs, because we can now check the states value in this React dev tool. Okay, so as soon as we click, we just want to switch the user. So here we are clicking, and here we are doing all these things. So let's say new player, because again we cannot mutate or change this player directly. We need to create a new player, or new player is equal to this dot state dot player. We need to firstly check if it is equal to X, then give O, otherwise give X. Okay, so let's say player is equal to new player. Good. So we have new player. Okay, we need to initialize it with let. Good. And in the React, yeah, player is X. As soon as I click here, you can see player is updated on this React dev tool, and now if I click anywhere on that part, it has to be 0. Why it is X? Let's go and do something. So whenever we click, okay, we will say, okay, so every time we are just hard coding this X value. So why not, instead of hard coding, we can just say state dot player, who is the player, just put that value on the cell or on the box. So click X, that's good. Player is O, click here, yay, O is here, that's very nice. So now it is doing alternate, but here you can see this matching is done, but it's not done on our application. So let's now go, and once more there is one kind of thing we can change. We can directly do this part here. So now we don't need this player part. Okay, so let's do once more. Yeah, everything is working. Okay, so the next part is going to match. What is the match here? Okay, another problem is there. You can see if I keep clicking, it now changing to XO. Let's fix this first, then we will work on the matching part. So it's like if there is a value on this box, or if there is a value for any index on this array, don't change it. So we are changing here, but we firstly need to check if this dot state dot board, and board for particular index, is equal to null. If it is null, then only we are going to make that particular cell having some value. So let's now test that thing. Click, and yes, you can see it's now not going to change. But the problem is, as soon as we click here, the player is changed. So we just want to click on this. Yes, you can see now we can only play with X, because as soon as we click, the player changes. So we need to change the player also, only when this is not going to null. So let's just move this part also inside here. So we are doing anything if that particular cell, if it is null. So let's go refresh and click. Yes, X is here. Again click, no change in the player. But if I click on empty one, yes, it is changed. Again click, no change. Empty, yes, changed. So this is good, and this means we can now work on our winning strategy. So we have all these things, and we need to make sure if there is a line matching, if there is a column matching, if there is a diagonal matching. So there is total 9 combination, 3 for rows, 3 for column, and 2 for diagonal. So let's go and on the VS Code, whenever if that is not null, we are changing this, we are updating this, and after updating we need to check. So let's call this dot check winner. So we are going to check winner, but we don't have this function, so let's create this function here. So check winner is here. That's good. Okay, so what we are going to do here, so first thing we need to have a rows or the lines. So let win rows, like win lines, it's going to be an array of various kind of arrays. So first thing, array is, there has to be combination of 1 that should be starting with 0, 0 1 then 2. This is the first case. If this is the first case, that means 0 1 2, first line, first row. Then comes another one which is for 3 4 5. So this is for second. Okay, then once more for 6 7 8. These are for the rows. So 1 2 3 rows ends. Now work on column. So first is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 0 3 6. So it comes like 0 3 6. Okay, then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 1 4 7. So it's like 1 4 7. And the last one, I think we can check it from 2 5 8, and let's just increment here. So this is good, but now comes the diagonal part. So diagonal is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So 0 4 8. So 0 4 8, and then left one, so it's like 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 2 4 6. So now come 2 4 6. Cool. So now let's work on the matching part. How we can match? We just have to match if 0 value having equal to 1 and equal to 2, then we can say this row is completed or this row is matched. Similarly for the column and for the diagonal. So we have this conditions. So we need to loop through each condition, and we will say for board array, if 0th position, 1st position and 2nd position are same, then we will say winner is there. So let's use the for loop, and here in this loop we will go and use for win lines dot array. So it has 9 part. Then we will go and create some constant, and constant is like a comma b comma c, and that has to be win lines, not wind lines, win lines, and passing the index. So it's like when the first time it go inside the loop, win line having the value 0, so index 0 is this one. So second time it will go, index 1 will be this, so a will become 3, b will become 4, c will become 5. Similarly at the last part, when index having the value of 8, so this means this line get this part, and now a will become 2, b will become 4, c will become 6. This time we just need to check if the array we have, so this dot state dot board having an index of a, if it is equal to the same part but with value of b, and same thing for c also. So if a is equal to b or a is equal to c, we will say yes, you won. So let's use this inside a if statement, and I will say alert, and alert, you won. Simple part. This is the case we have. So let's just go and check this. So we have some problem when lines is not defined. So let's go here, and problem is, okay, this L has to be capital, and this time it is good. So now let us start play, and as I clicked it says you won. This is not the good, and it's keep telling me that thing, and that's not good. That's very weird thing. Why it is happening? Because first time as I click, it get the information that, okay, there are three cells, three box which are empty. So it's like they have same values. Empty is also considered as a value here. So we can simply say here, if this dot state dot board and first one exists, then also we need to check other conditions. So let's just go refresh once more, and yeah, 0 then x 0 x, and you won. That's good. Refresh once more. So once more try the diagonal one, and yes, you won. Yeah, good. It is easy, but the problem here, everything we are doing in a single component. We need to update it, we need to refactor it. We will do that once our application is done. So the next part we are going to do here is like, when the player is completed with this, and yes, it's having you won, okay, then after even someone can play, we need to restrict this also. So how we can restrict that? For that, let's say one thing. Let's go to handle click, and when we want to say this is done, we need to create a new state, and that state call winner. Winner initially is null, okay, but as soon as we got a winner, we will say this dot winner dot it's actually this dot state dot winner, and we need to make changes here. But to change any state we need to use set state. So this dot set state, and winner is this dot state dot player, who is the player. So this is good. So let's go and try. Winner is null on the React Dev tool, so check, and yeah, winner is x. So if we have any value in the winner, then we are not going to do all the click part. So again give another if statement, which is saying if this dot state dot winner is not empty, okay. So we are saying that you have to have the cell null to create any entry on that cell, but you need to make sure winner is not set. So if there is a winner, why you are going to set anything else? So let's go here, refresh, and give a winner we have. But now even if I click, you can see nothing is doing here. Cool. But next part we need to do is that we need to tell here somewhere that who is the winner. But before that, we need to create a system where someone can choose who is the first player, because if X is the first player, the probability of winning X is more. So let's go to VS Code, and where we need to put that, just put below the Tic Tac Toe app this title. So title we have here, so we need to give, let's say, h2 tag, and here we will call for action. So let's say call for action. Yeah, that's good. So here we need to give a form, but let's try to create another function or another component. So let's create another component. For on the components folder, we have to create another component which is called choose player.js. Simple one. And now we need to import React. So import React from React, okay. Then we need to import the component also. So component, that's good. And let's create a class called let's say player only. So player, okay, but this has to extends component, and that has to be with capital C, remember this one. Okay, and this one is going to render, and inside render this is going to return something. So returning a div, simple div, which is why is that div is saying that you need to have something here. So choose player. But how we can use this function in our app.js? But before that, you can see it's giving error because we need to give here a comma. Okay, so here we need to say export default, and default is player. Okay, so we are exporting. So now here inside this we can import it. So importing player from on the components folder, and we have the choose player. Okay, so this is good, and let's use this here on this part. So that should be player, and if there is nothing to close, that means if there is no inner text, just like we have this inner text tic tac toe, if there is nothing, then you can just self close that tag. That's good. So choose player is good here, and that is here. So here we need to create a form. So let's create a form instead. So let's create a form, and inside this form I will create a label. Inside this label, let's create input having type of radio, and name is player. Okay, and self close it, and on the label we need to say player x, and give the value also. So value is x. Okay, and let's see how it's going to look here. It says some problem. Okay, nothing was returned, so returning part has to be there. So it's like this, and yes, it is working, but it is not looking so nice. So why not do one thing here? We also use this parenthesis, which will going to have this kind of functionality, and now it will not going to give error. So choose player x is this. Same thing we need to do for player o, and value is o, and that's good. So this is for this one, and this for this one. One more button, which is just going to be the submit button. So type is submit, and value is start. Simple, and let's close it. So whenever this form submits, so on submit we need to have a new function. So we know to call a function we can use parenthesis, then arrow, then this dot handle form, and yeah, that's good. And let's pass event so that we can get the event. Okay, and let's create that handle form. So handle form, getting the event, and first thing we need to event dot prevent default. This is very important thing. So prevent default, and this means if I hit on the start, nothing is going to happen because we have done the prevent default. Okay, so let's just say console dot log e dot target dot value. So yeah, start, it says undefined. So problem is e dot target dot player dot value. Okay, that's good. Once more, start, x is there, o is there. Now we can put this inside our player part instead of this. But how we can move the information which is in this component to here on this app component? We have two different components. So one thing is that you can use this player here also. You can create a state here, but you know, we have the prop system in component. So to talk to component, we use prop. So here where we are using the player component, we can have a player prop which is going to have a function. So this dot set player, this is actually the function we need to create, and that function is we are passing. And we know to pass a function we need to use this kind of notation. Okay, so this means whenever we are using this player which has to be a prop, so let's say I will here this dot props dot player, you can see it's grabbed by here, so make sure this p has to be small. Okay, let's click, and you can see it's a function, which the function we have passed, which is showing here as a prop. This means we can pass anything to that function because we know this player is a function. So we can just pass e or e dot target dot player dot value. We can just pass this. So what happens if I do this? Okay, we have error. It says set player is not a function. Okay, here set player is not a function. It's not defined yet. So why not define it? So just above the render, let's say set player is a function. So what about this time? And yeah, it says undefined because we are not doing anything. But here on this set player, we are expecting player. Okay, so we can say console.log player. What will be the result? Click start. It is still saying undefined. Why is that? So problem is we have not passed the event here. So we need to connect everything. So we are passing here the information of the player, so we need to accept that also. So that's how we can use here player. Okay, so this time if we check x is here, we have one undefined, which is why, which is because we are just console log this thing, the whole thing, so we don't have to do that. Okay, so player start 0, so x is here. Good, so we have passed information from our player component to our app.js component. So now we just need to say this dot set, not player, set state, and here we can say player is player. Okay, so let's open React, and player is x for now. If I do this, click on start, you can see player is now become O. But you know, we are using React, we can simply say this thing, this means player. So if I do this once more, refresh, click here, yeah, it is done. So because we are using the assignment and the value name as same player, so that's why we don't need to give player colon player kind of things. That's good. So player is set, so start 0, but we need to make sure that initially player has to be null. What will be the side effect of this? So if I click here, you can see nothing is there. First time I clicked, nothing is there, but because we have clicked, we have changed the player to x. So if I refresh, the initially player is null. As soon as I click on anywhere, it is going to x. But what the matter of having this setting the player? This means we need to prevent this to click if there is no player set. So on the handle click part, we are saying that we need to do anything if we have the player. So if this dot state dot player is there, or why not use this one also? So if we have the player, and if we don't have the winner, then we are going to put all these things here. That's good. Okay, so like this. Yeah, this is good. So now even I have not chosen any player, I click, nothing is going to happen. But as soon as I click on start, yeah, this is good. So we need to just make sure we have to remove this choose player part, and we need to say the next player who is going to have the chance. So let's create another part here. So here we are rendering, and we are having this on click event for handle click on every div. But you can see, so here we are using this player part, but this has to be only when we don't have the player. So this dot player, this dot state dot player, if it is there, then we don't have to do anything, but if it is not there, then show this part. Okay, so we need to make sure this is the case. But this is not going to work because this has to be the JSX, but JSX doesn't involve this kind of notation. So why not move all this just above this return statement, and I will say let player is equal to this, or let status is equal to, because it's like a status, so status is this. So if it is null, we are not going to do anything, but if it is not null, we are going to show this. But this has to be reverse. If it is null, then show the player, and if we have the player, don't do anything. So we need to use this status here, and we know to use any kind of JSX kind of things, we can use this curly braces. So status is there, so it's not doing that. Maybe so think about this. If we have the player, okay, if we have the player, that was correct. Okay, once more. Yeah, it is good. So as soon as I choose a player, that part is gone. But here this time I will say, if we have any player, then we will just say next player is, and the player name. So it's kind of this, so use this and player. So if it is not so clear, you can move this like this. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, click start. Yeah, next player is O, so O is there, next player is X is there. Yeah, these kind of things. So let's, yeah, O won. So now we need to say O has won this game. So here status can be different, but before that, before moving to that part, we need to refactor all these things, because we are doing lots of things in the render part. Why not do some different kind of things? So we have this box, so why not move a new box in a new component? Now the first step for refactoring is that you can see we are using these kind of things to loop through each of the board, that means the board array, and creating 9 divs, and then we are using it here. So why not use or move this in a new function instead of just a constant using here? So that will be like render boxes. This is the function I'm going to create, and just going to return all these things. So this time that can be inlined, so like this. Maybe we can use it here. Okay, this is good. So now we don't have any box constant like we have before. This time we have new thing which is called this dot render boxes, and it's a function. So let's go to Chrome, and it says, oh, I think this is missed somewhere, line 59. So 58, 15. Okay, yeah, this T here missed. Okay, so everything is working absolutely fine. Yeah, okay, you won. Great. So this is good. Next thing is that we have this status. For this, I'm going to create a new component. So just like we have used the choose player component, we have this one. Similarly, we are going to create a new function which is just call it status.js. So why not use this capital S? Okay, and just like here, we need to import these things here and paste it here. So copy and paste it. Then we have the class, which is class status extends component, and then we need to create a render part which is going to return the HTML we have, which is just like this. So let's delete that and paste it here. And now this is going to, let's just use this so that we have the multi-line statement. Okay, we don't have the state here. Instead we can get the prop. So this dot props dot player, which we have to get, and then we need to say again here props dot player. So let's have, and we need to import that. So let's import status from, and that should be component, then status, and this is good. And now because this player is not used here, so we can just remove that here, and we know we need this for status part here. So let's get the player. So now we can use this player component here. So this is good. Let's just pass the component. So where is the status? Here is the status. So let's just use a status, and this time having a prop called player, and this will be this dot state dot player. Okay, so status.js having the prop of player. So we are just checking if there is no player set, then use this player. But you can see this is having set player function. So now set player function is here on this main app.js component. So why not create another one, and we will say set player. So it's like handle set player, and this time we will say this dot props dot set player and going to pass the data. So we are passing from one component to other component to other component. Yes, this is something different, but if you don't want to pass one by one, then we need to use the Redux so that we have a single state management system. We will use that, or we will see that later. So this dot prop dot set player. So set player is a prop for the status. So set player is going to have a function which will be like this dot set player, and e is here, and everything is good. So let's now go to component, and now it says some weird thing, export default import as status not found. So we have export, okay, we have not exported this. So export default status, good. This time can't resolve this one because set player and choose player are on same folder, so we don't have to do much thing. Yeah, everything is back. So choose player, choose player is not working. So it says set player is not a function, so here it has to be handle set player for now. Start, play the game, and you won. Good. But we have cleaned up this kind of render part so much. This is good. Next, render boxes. Yeah, it's good. Set player is also good. Then we have this click event and two if statements. So here we are updating state. or then checking the winner. So okay, so why not create another function which will be like set mark or update function, update state. Maybe we can do, but let's leave it. Okay, so next is this part. Yeah, we can move this one. So we are having check winner, so we can just create another function which is like this dot check match. Okay, this is the function we need to create. So let's create check match. So if there is a matching, but what it need win lines. So we need to pass the win lines here, which is like this. We have win line in the winner, we are passing it, and that's okay. Then we are looping through this dot states will work. This is the new, this is another refactor we can do. We are every time using this dot state dot board, this dot state dot board. So why not do one thing? I will say let board is equal to this dot state dot board, and again t is here. Then instead of using everywhere all these things, just use board, and this is good, looking quite good. So let's see how it's going to look. Everything is nice, working fine, absolutely fine. This is another refactor we have done. So yes, the last part we have to say when someone wins, we need to say instead of this status we need to have some other status. So in the status we have to say, first thing we need to check if this dot props dot winner is there. If we have some kind of winner, then we are going to return some other thing, which is h2 tag or here, and winner is and the player. So player also we have as a prop, but here let's do this. Yeah, but here you can see if a statement is not going to work, so we can create another function which is will be like render winner. Okay, this render winner will going to give us all these things. So cut from here, paste it here, and return it. Okay, this is good. If we have the winner, then show this one. But what if we don't have the winner? So else part we will check all these things. So if we have the player, then player is this and all these things. So now in the return part we simply say render winner, and it's not render winner, render component or render HTML I will call it. So let's say this dot, that should be like this dot render HTML, and this is good, but we don't have the winner as a prop, so let's pass this winner as the prop. So on this status we are passing one as a player, then this prop function, then winner also we need to give as this dot status state dot winner. Good, let's see. Okay, it says this dot render HTML is not there, and here in the return part we can just return this dot render HTML, but that has to be inside any kind of HTML tags for making a JSX part. So inside span I will say this dot render HTML, and this is done. But one thing more, we need to return this part also. So just like we are returning this one, let's go, and yes, it is done. So yeah, everything is good, and let's make X as the winner is O. Oops, the problem is here. As soon as the last one we click, we get the winner, but as we get the winner, the player is changed. and that is incorrect because the game is won by X and we are saying winner is 0. That's not the case. Actually, we are having some problem in our status. We are saying winner is the player. Instead of winner, we need to say winner is winner. Okay, so this time this will going to work. Start, and X is the winner is X, and last thing we need to do is reset button. So as we get this, just going to have another button for reset when we have this. So let's use a button, and button is just a reset, but on click we need to have handle reset. So reset, and that should be inside, not double quotes, that should be inside this curly braces, and like this, pass the event. And actually we don't need to pass any kind of event, it's just a simple button, nothing else. So handle reset, but handle reset will have a this dot props dot reset, simple. Okay, and this is a function. So another prop for status, where is the status? Here. So another prop is reset is equal to, and if you don't want to have this function or this button here, you can move that button anywhere. So let's now even move that button somewhere else. So I don't want that to show here, that's okay, and here, and I don't want to pass any prop. And just after this, let's use this button and handle reset. So it's just a reset, no handle reset. So let's create a reset function, and this time it says reset is not defined, because we need to say this dot reset. And yeah, reset button is here, which is weird, but it's okay, we can move it anywhere we want, it's just a CSS part. So in the reset, what we need to do, we need to set the state. So this dot set state, and here one thing is player is again null, then winner is again null, and the board is again null, which is like this. Yeah, this one. So this only going to show if we have the winner. So this is only going to show if we have the winner. So we can just simply disable it. So disabled, if this dot state dot winner have some value. So it's not yeah, it's having reset, so just give a not. Yeah, it's disabled, but if you start the game and someone won, yeah, it is enabled, reset, and everything is reset. So this is the tic-tac-toe game, a simple tic-tac-toe game we have created with Reactjs only, and you will find the source code for this particular episode on the github.com/bitfumes and /react tic tac toe. This is the URL I need to create. So let's just create it together. So we have this, let's create a new repository, and repository name is React Tic Tac Toe Game. So Tic Tac Toe Game with Reactjs. Okay, create empty repository, and we have to do all these things. So let's just copy everything here, and we don't want any readme, which is actually included. So in a new tab, git init, then git commit, we have shortcut add commit with a message, and the message is game completed. So this is good. So git status, everything is good. So git push, but before push we need to give this git remote repository this one, and now push to the master, which is going to push everything. So while it is pushing there, and I will tell you that if you have not subscribed to this channel, please go and subscribe to this channel, because here very interesting things are going on. And if you have any doubt, feel free to message me, comment me. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get instant notification, like Bitfumes on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We will meet in some another episode. So till then, keep learning and keep watching. So I will update this readme file also. So till then, bye bye.